Welcome back, everybody. We're at Park Inn by Radisson, and today we're speaking to young people who have pursued their dream. They've gone against the grain and they've started businesses, and they're doing it well. And my next guest is Max Brew, and he started Hamu last year. That's 2018 June. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing, Max?
I am good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay.
Can't
Ready
complain.
to answer, because I'm going to grill you. I really want to understand.
Try me.
I want to understand, what goes on and how you're able to create something from scratch. So before we even get started, why don't you explain what Hamu is?
Hamu. Wow, that is a loaded question, but it's okay. Hamu is very simply just a laundry company. And what we do is a very simple service. We come to your doorstep, pick up your laundry, we wash it and dry it and bring it back to your doorstep in 48 hours. That's the gist of the business.
Simply put.
Very simple.
No, yeah,
simple.
I mean, that's perfect. Why did you find that it was important to have this up and running?
When it comes to business and things like that, in my opinion, I just kind of found a need in society, just a very simple thing that wasn't really untapped or just there wasn't much going on in there. And I decided to fill that need and I decided to try it out, and it seems to be working out pretty well. So that's kind of how I just kind of jumped in, and that's kind of how things came out.
Right.
So, yeah.
So Max, growing up, were you always would you say you had this entrepreneurial spirit in you, that you wanted to figure out ways to fix things, solve a problem,
Funny enough, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The interesting thing is, as I was growing up, my brother and I, one of my brothers, we were actually the opposite. So I was really into, sticking to the grain, going into employment. I was like, there's such security in employment. Why would someone want to just jump off a cliff and do what they want? And my brother was the opposite, where he was like, what? No, there's a lot, just try it, take risks and stuff. So it kind of flipped over time, because as I grew up, I was sort of thrust into leadership positions of different sorts. I joined a fraternity when I was in college, where I was just thrust into leadership, and that brought out a lot of different things. I became more of a risk taker as time came by, and over time it just kind of grew on me, I guess, just to jump in and just see how things go.
Interesting how you could think that you're going in one way, but life starts showing you, actually I can pursue something else. So is this the first business you've ever started?
No, this is my second startup.
Second
this is
startup.
My second one, yes.
All right.
So,
so I'm now curious, at which point did you then start to feel really comfortable jumping into what you at some point thought was you're jumping off a cliff?
I think comfort is probably the wrong word to use there, because you never really jump off. Entrepreneurship is, I read somewhere, entrepreneurship is jumping off a cliff and building a plane on your way down. So you never really feel 100% sure it's going to work. But I do have to say that going through the first business, there was a lot of, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then now that in my second one, there's a few things, a few processes and procedures. You're like, I remember this, I know this and this and this. You tested some things out that worked out here, didn't work out here. So jumping into my second one, it still felt like a giant risk, a huge risk. But you just kind of go in, and then I think what helped me is I jumped in accepting whatever it'll give me back, So if it worked out, amazing. If it didn't work out, well, I guess not. Back to the drawing board.
And that's the great thing about being young, isn't it?
Yes.
That you have the freedom, I guess,
yes,
to dive in and see where it goes.
Yes.
Before life kicks in.
Which is true, yeah. When you're young, you can jump in, you try what you can, and you can afford, I like to say you can afford to fail, because you don't have a lot of things riding on your life, on the decisions you make. You can afford to fall flat on your face, stand up, dust yourself off, and be like, whew, that wasn't good. Let's go this way. So
what did you study in uni?
I have a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics.
So it has nothing to do with your first business or Hamu?
Not quite. Well, I count money and accounts and stuff, but not really to that complicated level.
Directly. No. I don't think that's what you're learning. So when you go and knock on someone's door and they give you that's so interesting.
Yeah, there's not much that has to do with complex analysis and differential equations and things like that now.
What kind of role did your education play in where you are now? Or maybe even not play? What would you say about that? for people who are stepping into uni, aren't sure what they're doing, don't even want to do the course, maybe love it, I don't know, but are just wondering, does it have to be perfectly tied?
So what I would say, what helped me a lot is, I know like if this was everything I learned in uni,
Okay.
this is my degree, right?
Okay.
Majority of the stuff I learned was from interactions, from exposure, from just trying out life and trying out different things. Because my personal philosophy is, if you want to be an academic, right, your whole life, you want to become a professor, PhD, publish, all these things, by all means, go to school, read, make sure you have those straight A's and just focus on nothing else in the world and you should be fine, right? But for anyone else who I think, and this is my opinion once again, anyone else who is not looking to go down that field, while you're in uni, if you go to uni and come out with just a degree, then I believe your time there wasn't fully utilized, because sure, you want to be a doctor and of course you need to read hard in those books, but you should be looking for chances to go to the medical field and check out how things are going there while you're in university. You know, maybe do some free internship somewhere. You want to be a lawyer, yeah, focus on the books, but go spend time in a law firm. Go and you need that exposure, because the books are good, but the exposure, the experience is what money can't buy.
Right.
Yeah, which I believe.
Great.
Yeah.
So let's dive into Hamu.
Yes.
So you started it in June.
Yes.
At the time, what did that mean? What did you need in terms of staff, if it's funding, capital? What did you need to start?
Okay, what did I have at the time? I
Yeah.
didn't have that much. So luckily I had been working, so I started working in my second year of college.
Okay.
So by the time I started Hamu, I had a lot of stuff saved up and investments and like just, I had things put together. I lived a very minimal life so that I had enough capital to launch into business. And then when I started, honestly, the first few months, I wasn't even doing laundry per se. I was setting up systems. I was putting things in order. I was getting my shipments in and all these things. Because there's a lot of things that tie into just, people just see my clothes came out dirty and they came back clean. But there's a whole lot of stuff that happened even before that, because I had to get my staff. Luckily for me, staffing hasn't been the hardest part of business. But I think it's because I also have a background in dealing with team development programs and staffing. Like I deal with many like team building kind of thing. That's what I did when I was in college and even afterwards. And even today I still consult. So since I've dealt with many people and many kinds of companies and many kinds of people that work in those companies, staffing wasn't much of an issue, because I got the hiring process down, I got the training, I focus on trying to make my staff feel valued, which inertly allows them to bring out the best in themselves. So yeah.
And isn't that at the core of any business?
That is at the core of any business.
It's not even the service or the product, but it's the people.
No, like I think Richard Branson said, you take care of your staff, and your staff will take care of everything else, right? So that's the philosophy I live by, and I think it worked out pretty well. So that's kind of how I started. I just kind of jumped in and tried to just put systems in place. So since the staff take care of everything, I focus on creating those systems and trying to make sure. So when this happens, 1, 2, 3, 4. When this happens, 1, 2, 3, 4, and create those systems so that they feel like there's a structure.
How did you go about getting clients and putting your brand out there?
How I got my first clients is, I actually planted the business where I had the most connections at the time. Okay. Which, like, my first main branch for laundry and everything was right outside my uni, right? Okay. So I went to Daystar University. Yeah. So I planted it right outside there, like, boom, because I knew there I could get some friends, some students, some lecturers, I could talk to the staff, I could find different ways to get my first clients and get everything going. What you have. Then once you have that going, and also, it's a good thing to start with people that you know, so that when you go through your first kinks and your first mess ups here and there, they're understanding. They're like, okay, I know what you're trying to do. Let's try again. Let's try again. So by the time you go to people who have no idea who you are, you've already tested and tried everything, and everything is polished out pretty well.
Because those are the people who don't have the patience.
No.
They don't care who Max is, what he's trying to do. They just want their clean clothes.
Normal customers do not have any patience at all or any tolerance. They're like, this, no. Yeah. So it's good to try it out with people who are around you, people who know you. Okay. And they'll always give you good feedback, and once you have that set up and once you have everything ironed out, then you give it out to the general public bit by bit and see how it goes.
So it's not even been a year yet. What would you say has been the biggest challenge so far?
The biggest challenge? Well, I have been asked this before, and normally what I say is disclaimer, first of all. Not everyone is like this, but when it comes to dealing with government, sometimes it can be a bit tricky. Because, like, trust me, like county government, federal, like they're good people in there, and they do their work amazingly, and they have good systems in place. But when you have like a few characters in there that just mess up everything else, they make the business sense really, really, really hard. That is the one thing that really bugs me. I'm like, like they know they have the power of how your business goes, and when they see someone rising, they want to take a piece of that pie and bring you a bit lower. So, but once again, not like if I was to say, I'd probably say it's probably 5% or even less, you know. But still, as much as it's a small percent, they still have that control power over a specific docket of maybe business licensing or something like that, and it can make it really, really hard. But majority of people are actually fine. But that's the one part that I think really frustrates me at times, and I think it frustrates me because I don't have much control over it. And if something pops up in business, I can be like, oh, that came up, okay, let's figure it out. But when something external, there's not much you can do about it. You're just like,
especially when they have the power, the upper hand.
Because in business things come up, you know, issues pop up here and there, and I just, you calm about them. In fact, my staff know this. I normally say when an issue comes up, it's a learning opportunity, right? When we mess up, it's like, like, I don't know, someone walked in late to work, you know, instead of like, you know, just flaming them out, you ask them like, so what exactly happened? Let's understand, how can we prevent this in the future? And just small things like that, and then it helps create also a very nice working environment and all these things. So it kind of works out pretty well.
Okay. So what's your vision for Hamu?
Currently, we would like just to be the main laundry service in Nairobi and Machakos, right? We're trying to get into homes. Actually, one thing that's good to clarify is we are trying to develop a business for the domestic homes, right? There are enough laundry things for big organizations, big companies and all these things, but I'm trying to get into homes. So my vision is that we create an affordable service that the homes of Nairobi and who knows in the future can use for their own laundry service.
How does it actually work? If I had dirty laundry, do you charge me per item, per bag?
That's a very good question. So how it works is there's only one thing we charge separately, which is duvets, right? That one we charge per duvet, but anything else you throw at us, it could be shoes, it could be clothes, it could be blankets, it could be bed sheets, anything. We come to you and we just weigh it. We charge per kilogram. So it makes it easier because for the client, you don't have to like go through and sort out like, oh, I don't know, this is this much, this is this much. You just give us a bag, we weigh, tell you how much it's going to cost, and we go. Like, it's a very simple process. It's not very hard.
Interesting. So and then you come pick it up at the person's home.
Yes. So what happens is when people call us, we come to your doorstep, pick it up, we wash it and dry it and bring it back to your doorstep again. So you don't really have to do anything that much. Like right now, I have to say majority of our customers are mostly like bachelors and single people who are busy, working, doing all this sort of stuff. They don't have that kind of time, and they just want to give it to someone and just know it's done. And when it comes back, it's sorted out.
So
you know?
You're in the business, I guess, of even like convenience or time.
That's what you're
time.
It's do. Time. It's convenience. It's quality. Because when you probably hire someone off the side of the road, you don't know what standards they use for their laundry. So people have like damaged things sometimes, you know. And
and I'm sure we've all experienced like that beautiful black blouse or shirt, and then a jig stain, and you're like, oh, my God.
And the one thing which clients love is everything we do is machine based, right? We all use machines for everything. And one thing most people don't actually realize is the longevity of your clothes is actually like, okay, so like one thing I've told clients in the past is when I'm talking to them, they're like, why should we use your service? And I'm like, have you ever gone to like a thrift store, maybe like, you know, like Toy or something, and you realize these things were worn by someone else, but they look brand new, right? Yet when I wear them, they fade really fast. And I think the main thing is just one main factor, which is the sun. If you put anything out in the sun, it'll lose color. I'm sure you've put like some black something in the line or anything, and it turns brown or something. It just fades really fast. In other Western countries, in like first world countries, they don't have that problem because they put it in the dryer. They use machines and all that kind of stuff, and it lasts a lot longer. So when people hear that, they're like, oh wait, that actually is kind of true. And then when they try us out, they see it for themselves. So there's a lot of quality in what we do, which is really nice.
So where can people find Hamu?
So right now you can find us, you can call us, or you can find us on social media, right? We have a website. So social media, that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn.
Okay.
If you just type Hamu or Hamu Kenya, you'll
Yeah.
find us and follow us. We keep it really current. You'll find our contacts there as well. We have a website which is hamu.app, so
Okay.
app.
Okay.
So yeah,
Awesome.
check us out.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you very
I mean,
much.
What you're doing is incredibly inspiring, and it's great to see that you from what you've shared, it's not like you were innately this entrepreneur who was like at 5 years old was trying to sell us like lollipops. It's something that you were able to harness and build something amazing out of it. So congratulations to you. More
Thank you
power
very much.
to you.
Thank you very much.
Hamu, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to take a break, but we'll be right back with another young lady entrepreneur, so don't go anywhere.